Hello, good people of Greenfield. I'm Paul Wood, your city manager, and this is the second edition of City Council Meeting Summary. This summary is for our most recent City Council meeting held on March 12th, 2024. As I've said in the only other edition of this video series, the purpose of the summaries is to let those individuals who have not had the opportunity to either attend or view the video of prior meetings to hear what's going on at your City Council meetings. In the last video, I reviewed the standard agenda format, so I won't go over it again. What I will do instead is highlight each of the individual non-recurring agenda items, as well as any other items that I consider important. The first item I'd like to talk about is a presentation made by John Erickson, who represents a nonprofit group called the Community Water Center. This nonprofit has as its mission to assist local residents with obtaining clean drinking water. Their presentation consisted of talking about an area outside of the city of Greenfield's city limits to the west. This area is widely known to have nitrate issues in their groundwater, making it non-drinkable. The purpose of the presentation was stated to be an informational talk about what the Community Water Center wanted to do to help rectify the situation for the residents of this area. The talk centered around the completion of a feasibility study of the area related to potential solutions. It's important to note that city representatives have worked with the Community Water Center in the past related to this particular issue. And our opinion is that while it's very important for these residents to have clean drinking water, it's also important to make sure that all feasible steps are taken to make sure that the procurement of clean drinking water is done in the most economic and efficient manner possible. To that end, city staff have suggested to them, and they have documented, that the city believes the first measure of responsibility is with the property owners themselves. We believe that the property owners have the responsibility to their property and to their tenants to find the most effective and efficient solution to their property's water issues. There are a variety of potential solutions that the property owners can and should pursue. The second measure that we suggested that the Community Water Center undertake is a dialogue with the county related to the feasibility of rectifying the water issues. As residents of the county and not of the city of Greenfield, the county is the government agency that is responsible to address their water issues. We also feel that county representatives will have a unique experience and expertise related to groundwater issues and the potential of fixing them. The third item that we discussed with Community Water Center at their suggestion was the potential for these areas outside of the city limits and mostly outside of our sphere of influence to attach to the Greenfield municipal water system. This proposed solution would require the build-out of the city's water system to reach out into the county to serve these properties. There's currently no water line that runs that far to the west. This third potential solution is not inexpensive. There are a variety of other factors that make this the least desirable option for the city of Greenfield. If need be, we can delve into these details at a later date. Overall, it was an informative presentation, and I believe the community will be more informed having this information. The first item of City Council business on the agenda was to adopt a resolution approving a procurement agreement in excess of $31 million and to appropriate $150,000 in supplemental funds for Phase 1 of the wastewater treatment plant design. What this means is that the City Council was being asked to approve a potential agreement for the manufacturing of a packaged membrane bioreactor treatment system, or MBR, which is the new wastewater treatment plant machinery, in effect to the tune of $31 million. As I've said before, that's a lot of money, and it's important to note at this point that the request boils down to the council approving me, the city manager, to enter into an agreement that locks the price of the machinery and the installation costs to not to exceed a certain amount of money. So let's take a step back for a minute. If you recall, when we started talking, we originally estimated the entire new wastewater treatment plant would cost in the range of $30 to $40 million. This estimate was to include designing, building, and installing the new plant. That estimate was prepared over a year ago, and since then, a couple of things have happened. One, we've had an inflationary year that has driven the costs up of everything. Two, we've actually had an expansion of the original scope of our proposed plan. These two factors have combined to increase the expected cash outlay for the wastewater treatment plant to exceed $90 million over the course of the next 5 to 7 years. Along with this tripling of the estimated costs, we must remember two things. One, the scope expansion had a lot to do with the cost expansion. And two, it has always been the expectation of both the state of California and the city of Greenfield that the state of California would be funding this project 100%. Now back to the resolution. The language of the procurement agreement specifically states that if the city of Greenfield does not get the intended 100% funding from the state, we are not contractually obliged to move forward with the construction/procurement of the MBR system. So we are doing two things at once with this agreement. We are locking in the price, and we are protecting ourselves in case the state does not come through with 100% financing. The second item of this resolution relates to supplementally appropriating $150,000 to complete the design phase, the environmental study of the new wastewater treatment plant. This additional money is needed and was anticipated, but not originally budgeted. The second agenda item also related to the new wastewater treatment plant. This was an additional request for $647,037. This contract amendment with the design firm HydroScience was necessitated by the additions to the scope of services required to complete the final design. A complete list of changes can be found in the staff report to this item. The funding for this will come from the ARPA funds that were received from the federal government after the COVID-19 event. The last business item on the agenda was a supplemental appropriation in the amount of $227,900 for public works expenditures. We did have a small problem with this item in that when the individual line items were added up, they did not add up to $227,900. So the council amended the resolution language to the more appropriate amount of $124,700. The last item on the agenda was a closed session item related to a Brown Act demand to cure and correct from Andrew Sandoval. Since this was a closed session item, there's nothing I can comment on here. Well, that about wraps it up. I hope you found this information worthwhile. And if anyone has any questions or comments, please let me know, and I or city staff will follow up. Thanks again. Hope to connect with you in the future.